Hello, everyone. My name is Francois Levy. I'm an architect with a practice of about 4 people. And these days of staying at home and working from home and being safe, we are all working independently at our respective places. And usual ways of working, of marking up a set of drawings and handing those red lines off to somebody else, not really very practical. So lately we've been using a lot of the Redline tool. This is a tool that's been around in Vectorworks for quite a while. It's not super complicated, but it's got some nice features and very useful. So I thought I'd review those. So the Redline tool is in my custom workspace. I've tucked it up here behind the text tool, but it's in the dimensions and markups palette, dims and notes. Right? And I'm just going to zoom in over here to this detail so we can have a look at it and do some marking up. And when you first launch Vectorworks, your current session, and you go to your preferences, you can see that you have a default redline style and a default authorized by and assigned to, and you can change those depending on what you need. I've gone ahead and set this up, and then with every session it'll reset to a couple of question marks for each of those 2 fields, and you can type in the initials or the name, whatever you want. So that's fine, and I can draw a red line by oval or rectangle or a polygon or a freehand. I find rectangles to be pretty easy to use, so I'll go ahead and just draw a rectangle here with the Redline tool and type in a note. There we go. And that's it. And it creates this lovely Redline object. I can reposition the note. I can go to the Object Info palette and edit the note. There you go. And after that change has been made, whoever makes the change, they can go ahead and click on Picked Up, and then the red line turns yellow, like a highlighter. Kind of cool. And so there we go. I'll go ahead and leave that one picked up. Now, I can also include objects as a sketch. So let's go ahead and draw a rectangle here. Drop that in, and then do a red line again. And with the object selected, I'll draw my red line, type my note, and be sure and attach the current selection as a sketch. That will always be turned off by default. And there it is. It's part of the red line. It can be repositioned with this handle point, but then it'll be hard to snap it back to that corner. Just be aware. And then, of course, you can move that handle point to reposition the note. Now, if you want to draw something that is maybe a little more complicated than just a rectangle, like that, you can do that. So here's 3 lines. Sometimes when I include that as a sketch, let me switch over to an oval here. Vectorworks may drop out part of that drawing, right? So you can see 2 of those lines got included in the sketch, but the last one did not. So let me undo. So a little workaround for that is just go ahead and group your sketch and then redline it. There we go. Oh, haha. I forgot to attach it as a sketch. Cancel that. There we go. Make sure it's selected. Attach a sketch. There we go. Always need to remember to click on that Attach a Sketch. Now, I'm not limited to just redlining native Vectorworks drawings. I can also use the redline tool in conjunction with imported PDFs. So here's the same sheet of details that got exported as a PDF and that I've re-imported into a Vectorworks file. So I can zoom over here. So while it's fine to mark up your files in Acrobat or Preview, whatever you use to mark up your PDFs, there's certain things like drawing dimensions or complicated little sketches that are really difficult to do in those applications. So in this case, I'm just going to, for example, use the fact that I can snap to a PDF. So there we go. There's that dimension. Okay, and I'll go ahead and draw a red line and make that a note. Attach a sketch. So there you go. So I can use Vectorworks itself as a really nice sort of PDF markup environment. Now, of course, if I re-export this PDF and give it back to somebody, say a consultant who's not a Vectorworks user, they're not going to be able to turn off all the red lines as an annotation. That's the one downside. But it's going to be a lot easier to mark this up. So just something to think about. And then finally, after you've spent a morning redlining, you may have quite a few notes, and being able to keep track of which ones have been picked up and which ones haven't could be kind of tedious, sort of leafing through all of your sheets. So under Tools, you can create a custom report. Right? Create a report. Objects with a record is your criteria, and then you can list all the different objects with records that are in your current file, and I'll just start typing red, and it'll highlight redline objects so I can find it. So now it's going to find all the redline objects and create a report from that. Be sure and include viewport annotations as being included so that if you're marking up inside your viewport annotations, that shows up in the report. Here are all the possible records you could have. You don't necessarily need all of them in the report, so we'll start with creation date, add that, and then authorized by and add that, and then what the notation really actually says, we'll just add that. Whether or not it's been picked up, yes or no, and then who it was assigned to, for example. And there we go. And I'll just place it here, and there's that report. Now, obviously, I can format that any way that I want, just like I would any Vectorworks worksheet. Make this column narrower, change the font, hide the viewport, the database headers, excuse me. And so I can see all of these that were assigned by, and I could sort by column A or B or whatnot. So some of the nuances of the redline tool hopefully will make collaborating with your colleagues while you're working from home a little bit easier, and hope it's useful. Take care.